Hey, well, we finally got around to seeing Unforgettable, and it's goddamn ridiculous.
It's exactly what I thought it would be.
Same here. We didn't get a chance to see this on Thursday because I had to leave Thursday for C2E2 last weekend. Not that that mattered, because they didn't give this a Thursday screening.
It's like I was thinking the other day. I think they were worried they were going to make too much money, and they wouldn't have enough people to count it, so they're like, we'll just cut a day off the front.
Yeah. I was actually upset at first. I was like, oh, man, I'm upset that I'm missing this on its preview night. Oh. Well, never mind. I'll see it Monday, a day after I get back from Chicago. When I was up in Chicago, Doug asked, like, is there anything you want to go see when you're up here? I'm like, oh, I think the only new movie that's out, off the top of my head at least, is Unforgettable.
Pushed every other movie out of your mind. Like, I'm just focused on this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, the only the movie out is Unforgettable, and that's me and Brian's date night.
Oh yeah.
It's the new trash thriller that's out, so we've been excited for this for a long time.
I would have gone fucking Katherine Heigl on him if you...
Oh yeah.
It's like, I want my life. It's just like, oh, okay, buddy, calm down.
Going around in that, like, master's wives robe that she's in at the end of the movie with a poker and
it's like,
shit.
What the fuck was that?
Dude,
she stole Dave's robe from Jesus, bro.
Yeah. Man, I got carded at this movie. I haven't been carded at a movie at Showplace 12, and I legit can't remember when. Now, at Showplace 8... that's happened. We rarely ever go there.
Yeah, that happened to us a couple weeks back, but again, like, that's been the first time for me since, like, the fucking 90s.
Yeah, Parkway. A couple times at Parkway, like, you and I did at Personal Shopper. Dave and I did at... whatever the last movie was we went to go see there. It definitely wasn't Case for Christ. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I walked in on this and it threw me off at first, and it was a new employee, because that's always the case whenever you get carded anywhere.
I was like, we're here, like, constantly.
She's like, I'm gonna...
Like, they don't even stop me at the front anymore. Like, if you're like, if you beat me here and you've already, like, grabbed the tickets and, like, like, I just walk on by, like, oh, yeah, he's already in there.
Yeah, I was like... she's like, I need to see ID, and I go, really? And she's like, yeah, you know, it's rated R. And then I just went like, oh, like this. And you know what? After seeing the sex scene that's in this movie, okay, you know what? I kind of understand why I was carded.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this one here, as far as these, like, trashy thrillers go,
it's an R, which is usually never the case with these kind of movies.
Yeah, it kind of earns its R rating, like, because, well, what was that one? I can't remember the fucking name. Was it The Perfect Guy?
Perfect Guy was the one where it was Michael Ealy was the bad guy.
Yeah,
and he kills Morris Chestnut.
Okay, I was trying to remember if that was one, because that one I think wanted to be an R. Mm-hmm. I don't remember it being one.
It wasn't. All of those are PG-13.
But like, this here is, I think, what, like, it thought it was trying to go for. Mm-hmm. And like, no, this one, like, it's... I mean, graphically, there's not a whole lot going on, but, like,
no,
like, the couple, like, sex scenes that are in it
are,
like,
ridiculous. are insane. There's one sex scene in particular that I can't even jump into because it requires setup.
But I will be fair, like, they are animalistic.
Yeah. And honestly, there's not even nudity in the scene. It's just insane. It's way above, like, or it's way more out there than the roller coaster scene from Fear, because that I can at least describe in a sentence.
Yeah.
I can. That's a great fucking scene from Fear, but you can describe, that could be, like, the first thing you could say in a review of that, and you won't need any context.
Yeah, there's not a lot of setup, like, if it was, like, a fucking late night, like, you don't have to, like, explain the whole movie, like, it's like, do you want to set this clip up, like, Nah, it speaks
Yeah.
for itself.
This you kind of do, honestly, because what this movie is, it's Rosario Dawson is engaged to a dude. Guy has a kid with his ex-wife, and the ex-wife is Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl, who is
Playing herself.
yeah. Oh, that I'm gonna get into that in a little while, like because that requires a whole like Katherine Heigl's character in this movie is like this love child of Mommy Dearest and Bo Derek. It's kind of fucking amazing. There's even the hair cutting.
Cut from solid ice.
Yeah. There is even the haircut scene from Mommy Dearest is in this movie. But the thing is, she's not the only stalker in the film. Rosario Dawson, who apparently just has the worst luck.
Seriously, like a shitty fucking life.
Yeah, when it comes, like, she's got a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend who just, like, beat the shit out of her, and she has, like, scars, like, on her shoulders and shit. So this guy is also, like, kind of following her in the movie.
So she's already escaped the movie The Perfect Guy.
Yeah, or, like, Shades from When the Bow Breaks.
Like, this could have been a sequel, like, if it was Michael Ealy playing the guy in this one, like,
Yeah.
like, this could have honestly been like a sequel to that if he didn't get like shotgunned in the fucking chest at the end of that one.
Oh, man, like, Katherine Heigl could be, like, the rich white girl version of the crazy girl from When the Bow Breaks, only if she lived to see her kid.
Yeah, this is the continuation of both of those movies. If they had different endings, this is the next movie.
Yeah. So, Katherine Heigl is going through, and which, by the way, there is no progression to how crazy she is.
She starts clinically insane.
Yeah.
And it only just becomes more apparent. But no one else realizes this at all. And she never acts any different throughout the whole movie.
No.
She's fucking one note. It's a solid note.
Yeah, it is.
There's only one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's never any different towards any other fucking character.
She is Betty Draper with a hot poker in her hand.
And everyone else assumes that she's perfectly normal.
That is so stupid in this film. Like that is insane, because it's not like Fatal Attraction where this character
like
seems normal at
like
first.
she's putting up a front until she's spurned and then goes crazy. Like,
Or Hand That Rocks the Cradle, where you see the progression of how this person kind of gets to the point to where they are. No.
This would be like when they hire Rebecca De Mornay and she's already like,
yeah,
like threatening to like kill children.
The first time we see Katherine Heigl in this movie, she's staring at herself in the mirror, and she looks like one of like Chuck Connor's creations from Tourist Trap. Like, so
she looks like at any moment, anytime she's looking in a mirror, I kept expecting her to just bash her face into it.
Same here. There were several points where I thought her fist is just gonna go through this mirror.
Especially when she's sitting like takes off that brace. It was like, I thought you were like yeah, better, smash.
I was thinking the same thing too.
It's like, now I'm ready to kill.
There's a part in the movie where she and Rosario Dawson get into an argument on the stairs.
Holy shit.
And
she fucking fight clubs herself.
She does. Yeah, she fight clubs herself and does like Wahlberg, like fucking punching himself in the arm, where she hears the husband pulling up. She's like, no, Rosario Dawson, no, don't.
Rosario Dawson's like, what? The fuck, I'm not even touching you.
She throws herself down the stairs.
Get away, you're hurting me. Ow.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you fucking doing, you psycho?
And this dipshit husband in the movie is like, oh my god. And then they're talking later on, and Rosario Dawson's like, I did not push her down the stairs. She's like, yeah, I told her off and I kind of put my arm on her, but I didn't push her down the stairs. This husband's like, maybe the truth lies there somewhere in between.
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
Fuck that. I leaned over at you and just went, this guy's an idiot. And
well, he already married, like, dated this psychopath once.
Yeah.
Married her. fathered a child with her, broke up with her, and then still stayed with her for another couple years.
Yeah.
It's like, he clearly has, like, that part in your brain that lets you know, like, this seems like a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have that. Like, this man would die in the wild because he'd see, like, a wolf coming towards him and be like, oh, it's a cute dog.
Even when confronted with not just evidence at the end, but a corpse, he drives over to her house to be like, yeah, all right, well, let me just talk to her for a sec. I'll at least, like, get the kid out of there and everything. And, like, yes, Rosario Dawson is being framed for this. Yes, the cops are kind of looking at Rosario Dawson, but the husband doesn't think that. Like, it's like he doesn't think Rosario Dawson did this, but he's too stupid to realize Katherine Heigl did.
It's like, so much of this movie, it hinges on the fact that no one is capable of doing anything on their own.
Yeah, they need an out-of-towner like Rosario Dawson to come in and say, like, hey, you know that crazy bitch? Well, she's kind of crazy.
It's like, you're adjusting. She's adjusting. It's weird for everybody. It's like, so she wasn't like this last week before I got here. Like,
dude,
like, was she perfectly normal? Because, like, she looks like she. In any other movie, like, if there was a slight sci-fi element to this at all, I'd be like, well, clearly she's gonna be a robot.
Yeah. Yeah. When it got to the final scene in the movie, I was wondering if that was going to be the case. So
turns out she's a Terminatrix.
That would have been amazing if Katherine Heigl played the Terminatrix. I would be like, you're all wrong. Terminator 3 is awesome.
But it makes no sense that Arnold lost.
Yeah. This stupid husband at the end, when he comes in and he's seeing Katherine Heigl standing there with not just a poker in her hand, but bloody clothes that she's burning in the fireplace behind her.
Wardrobe.
And he just goes, oh my God. And then he just, of course, turns his back to her.
She has, like, a fucking 4-foot long, like, the largest fireplace poker I've ever seen in my life. It seems like a fucking pool cue made of wrought iron.
Yeah.
With, like, a goddamn hook on the end. He's like, oh. Well, I'm taking our daughter and leaving. Turns around. It's like,
boom.
It's like, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? That she was just gonna be so shocked by the fact that you found out she murdered a guy like an hour ago? She's not gonna go for 2.
Like, as much stupid shit is in this movie, if there's one thing you can't take away from it, it's Katherine Heigl is haunting in this film. This is 20 minutes in, I looked at you and went, this is the most I've ever loved her in a movie.
This is the role she was born to play.
Yes, I was like, if she had been playing roles like this for the past several years, I'd love Katherine Heigl. Like, I was never that big of a fan of hers, like most people, honestly. But in this, like, I hope this is where if she takes her career down this path...
Just go this way.
Yeah.
Just commit to these.
Where she's this insane character actor now. Oh my God, I will go see a movie just because she is in it. Because every scene she's in this movie is kind of scary. Like, she is legit intimidating in this film.
She's the new Michael Myers.
There is a shot at the end of this film that I honestly had to catch my breath for a second. Like, my heart legit stopped in one sequence in this film. And it's after the girl fight that always happens at the end of these movies, where they're kind of kicking the shit out of each other. So,
after the Beyonce Ali Larter fight for this movie.
Yeah. And so Heigl is knocked out on the ground, and you know she's not dead, but Rosario Dawson goes in to, like, untie the husband. It does not play a jump scare or anything at all. Suddenly in the background, Katherine Heigl, like she is Michael fucking Myers, just comes walking through the door. Like, you have to see this shit. Like, she just comes walking in like it. Like, my breath stopped when that fucking happened in this film. And
she had a, like, she was walking, but it was a quick fucking pace with like that flowy fucking like silk dressing gown she was wearing. Like, it looked like she was floating across the screen. I love so much that it's her in this film. I do. And I've never said that about a movie I've seen her in. Like, in this, it does feel like, did she take this role just to kind of have fun with her own public image a little bit? I have to assume, because like everybody's like, because like, I mean, how do you see like the call sheet for this one? And you're like, it's like, let's see here, different stuff I could do. Single mom, no. Let's see here, like corporate boss, like maybe, like, ooh, this one here, stone-faced killer who's a total bitch and shows no emotion other than hatred. It's like, that's the one. That's got me written all over it.
It really is like playing with that stereotype that you have in your head of Katherine Heigl. Like, I know she's not a killer in real life or anything like that, but there is that stereotype in your head that you have of that person. Like,
because it's like at this point, like certain actors out there, like Crispin Glover, only takes roles where you're like, yep,
yeah,
that's a Crispin Glover part. And like, maybe she's finally embracing that.
I hope so, because if that's the case, I'll fucking be there opening fucking night for everything that she puts out. If she continues doing stuff like this, I'm so glad she's in this trash movie, man. But at the same time, her performance in this movie is so good that I could still see it working in something that is above just kind of a Lifetime movie in theaters, because while she's a stone cold sociopath in this film, and she is scary, like when she's looking at herself she barely looks human in some of these scenes.
Yeah, like, well, it just, even things like she'll be sitting there like, just like brushing the shit out of her hair, and then just keep like massaging her face. It's like, are you making sure that it's staying on your robot body?
Yeah, and like she does, like, she does really mommy dearest stuff in this movie, like the scene like making her daughter ride the horse, and like of course the hair thing from earlier, and like she's with the French lessons and things like that throughout this movie. And what I kind of like about her character in this film, because right away this character is fucking crazy. But they give her this mom in the movie that Cheryl Ladd plays. So when this happens, you kind of understand
like, oh god, she's the byproduct of something. Like, she didn't just go crazy. She was like bred and raised to be crazy.
Right, yeah, and I kind of liked that. And I did like while there is the little fight at the end that the two of them has, it doesn't go quite as all out as some of these movies do, to the point to where when Katherine Heigl gets it at the end, it really isn't like a crowd cheering moment. It's actually kind of sad.
It's unnerving. Like, it's up there with like odd comparison here, but like, it's up there with like the end of Return of the Jedi.
Oh,
where like it starts out. It's like
I get what you're saying.
It starts as this balls out fight. Where like, this is gonna be like the deciding thing. Like, finally, it all came down to this. And then halfway through, you're like, oh, this is actually kind of fucked up. Like, shit. Because it's really unnerving how that fight ends with like
her looking in the mirror and like this like what have I become moment, and like
truly man is the greatest monster.
She has like she has final words in this where she basically says, like, make sure my daughter doesn't remember me like this, which I don't think they've... This is probably the most humanized I've seen a villain in a movie like this, because usually at this point, before she would even get a final word out, like, Regina Hall would have backed over with her car at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, but then it goes for a final stinger at the end.
It has this super awkward final moment where Cheryl Ladd comes back, and Rosario Dawson is like just terrified and horrified.
It begins again.
And yeah, it's like this fucking weird moment where like
it's the
like
6 months later after like the fight at the end.
They're playing it like it's the final scene in like Friday the 13th, what, part 6?
Where like Jason was chained underneath the...
Or no, I'm thinking 5, where they're at the hospital.
Oh, and Tommy Jarvis has the mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
They play it like it's that moment, and like everybody's happy, they've moved to a different town, like you know, it seems like life is finally getting good for them. And then yeah, like there's a knock at the door and it's like no one's there, and then Cheryl Ladd just shows up. It's like I'm here, and like the daughter, she's all happy because it's her grandma.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's okay, honey, I'm here, I'll always be here, like or whatever the fuck it is she says. And Rosario Dawson looks horrified.
Like, yeah, like it's gonna happen again. And but it's 6 months later, and what, is this the first time they've all seen each other in the past 6 months? I assume it...
Like, did they not go to the funeral?
Right.
I'll just skip it?
Yeah. This whole epilogue was like...
Of course, the way that it set up Cheryl Ladd, like, who knows, like maybe she like ferried the body like out of the country and had like a private like cremation or something. Like,
yeah.
Nobody knows that she's dead. She's just telling everybody that she's doing like humanitarian work in Africa or some shit.
I wouldn't have even been that scared, because it's like, while Katherine Heigl is certainly the product of this woman that clearly got some issues herself, it never seemed like she was psychotic.
But yeah, it never like brought her up like she was like some like insane mastermind, like
yeah,
orchestrating her every movement. So yeah, it was just weird, but yeah, like they did it like they were trying to sequel bait, like, oh shit,
right,
Unforgettable 2, like this time.
I
like,
hope so.
It's like,
oh, I hope so.
Like mommy comes home.
Yeah. It went on, like, I knew something was gonna happen because it was going on when it first started. I was like, okay, is this gonna be it's showing them in
fucking Elm Street 1 ending?
Yeah, your mom pulls Rosario Dawson through the window and the door. Like when it first started, I was like, okay, is it just gonna show them in bed together? And then like, oh, it's happy now, credits. But it was going on long, and I was trying to go through my head what was gonna happen.
Whenever
I'm like, is Katherine Heigl still alive?
Yeah, like there was a knock at the door. Like I was honestly, up until the moment that it was Cheryl Ladd, like I was honestly expecting Katherine Heigl to just be standing there, like it's like, I'm home.
Yeah,
and just done, credits.
Right, like a final jump scare at the end. Like it turns out the twist is it's a Blumhouse movie.
It's like, oh shit, I missed that at the beginning.
Then Warner Brothers released this film. They put this in the giant theater in there too, which was kind of hilarious. It's like, see, it's right up there with the time I saw like Paranormal Activity 2 on an IMAX. Like, okay, this is a little overkill.
You need to see every tiny, giant pixel of this security camera footage.
Yeah, and of course, we were 2 of like 4 people in there. I love it when that happens. When it's something that we should not be seeing on the let alone in the theater to begin with, but like on the giant screen in there.
Yeah, because
that's the same auditorium we saw the Barbie movie on.
But then across on the other side where the smaller theaters are is where they had like Fate of the Furious and like Free Fire and like some different stuff like that. It's like kind of feel like these should be on this side.
But I'm glad they weren't. I'm glad it was. They saved that shit for Unforgettable.
I think somebody maybe was like, it's like, I don't know, from what I've seen, like, maybe this will surprise us, and it's this year's The Gift.
Well, I don't think this is going on my best list at the end of the year. It might go on my list of like, the 20 best times I had in the theater this year.
I was gonna
just
say,
for
like,
every scene with Katherine Heigl.
And you know what's fun? Think about it like this. Picture in your head that this is the sequel to Knocked Up.
Yes. Yeah. I would that would make this a fucking masterpiece. It would.
Just think about it for a minute. It's like these timelines kind of match up. Like they just hired somebody a bit more, you know, chiseled and handsome than Seth Rogen, and and there you go. This is where it continued on. Like after he got like a really good job, but then, you know, his father passes away, so he decides to go into like starting a brewery. Like this all tracks more as a comedy.
Yeah.
Like a hard luck, like inspiring comedy, like something like that, than being one of these like 90s like trash thrillers.
That's what makes it make sense, because everything Katherine Heigl's been in the past, there's always been something really unsettling about her. This is just the natural progression of that. This is like, oh, well, here's what this character ended up as 15 years later. That makes total fucking sense. Now suddenly it's okay for movies like 27 Dresses to exist, or The Ugly Truth, or all that stupid movie she did with Ashton Kutcher. Killers, I think is what it was called.
Right.
I don't know.
The one that
wasn't
wasn't
that
the one that wasn't Night and Day.
Yeah. Yeah. B movie Night and Day. No, that could be a thing.
Because even in shit like Valentine, she's like the opening kill, and I still like at the end of the movie is like I knew it's David Boreanaz, but wouldn't it just be fun if it was Katherine Heigl?
Yeah. Really, the only thing in this movie that made me groan is every now and then Whitney Cummings shows up to do shtick. That happens a couple of times in the movie.
Like, we need some comic relief.
No, you don't.
But don't make it too funny.
Yeah. You kind of take it. Just have Whitney Cummings show up to say, that's YOLO.
We need TV's Amy Schumer.
You don't realize Whitney Cummings was in this. She pops up at the beginning. I'm like, what? Like,
it's like, oh, okay.
It's like when I was surprised in, what was it, The Darkness, when Paul Reiser showed up. The difference being, I was glad to see Paul Reiser. That was a nice surprise. I'm like, oh, all right. Whitney Cummings shows up in this. I'm like, I don't know if these jokes are gonna land.
It'd be like if like they gave like the boyfriend in this, like if like he had a best friend and it's like somebody like fucking Chris D'Elia or somebody's like, oh, sure. Why not? A man who will spend the rest of his life trying to be Paul Rudd.
Again, to tie it into Knocked Up, bring Paul Rudd in on this movie. I recommend this movie, so that goes without saying.
Yeah. This is definitely a recommendation for this one. You might want to hurry and catch it because I can't promise it's gonna be there.
I don't know how long this is gonna be out, but I had a great time watching this movie.
It's like they're gonna need to make room for Guardians next week?
Yeah, in a couple weeks. I
mean, you better hurry is what we're saying.
Right. If
If this goes up tomorrow, go see it like Wednesday. See it before the Thursday movies start up.
Yeah. Or just be the one guy who's there on the movie's last showing on Thursday while everyone else is seeing the preview screenings. If you don't like this kind of movie, this isn't going to turn you.
Yeah, no, this is not going to change your mind at all.
Yeah, no, this is a movie like the rest of them. They know what kind of movie it is. I mean, you go in this, you want to see Katherine Heigl doing some crazy shit. You're gonna get your money's worth. And fuck, we didn't even touch upon the sex scene in this film. Okay, real quick. I just remembered, I should probably get to tease that at the beginning. Okay, so Katherine Heigl through this movie is like having this chat conversation with Rosario Dawson's stalker, and she's pretending to be Rosario Dawson. She's like mailing she's mailing her stalker Rosario Dawson's panties. And
she broke into the house and stole a bunch of shit.
Yeah, she steals a bunch of shit. She's mailing it to she's sending candid photos on Facebook and shit like that. So
she also stole her phone at a point.
Oh yeah,
and backed it up so she's got all of her it's like, hey girl, you up? What you doing?
Yeah,
photos.
It's like. Another guy, like, as horrible as that person probably is, he's also an idiot for thinking that that's Rosario Dawson talking to him.
Because I'm assuming, I don't know, the movie starts with, her Rosario Dawson finding out that her restraining order has just ended.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the person who is restrained also gets a copy of that.
I don't know.
But regardless, they have a history that did not go well.
Mm-hmm.
But Katherine Heigl's opening line to him is "Hello, Michael, it's Julia."
Yeah.
It's the most natural thing her robot brain could come up with.
Yeah. What's up, girl? Oh, just thinking about you.
Remember that time? Yes. Period.
Wanna fuck? And so Rosario Dawson and her fiance just start banging hard, in the bathroom at some fucking event that they're at. This goes on while Katherine Heigl, this is all spliced in together. This is a montage. It's Rosario Dawson and her fiance.
Weird sex music video.
Yeah, they are banging hard. Meanwhile, while this is going on, it is also showing Katherine Heigl, what do you call it when you're sexting but on Facebook? You're Facebook fucking, so they're chatting back and forth, having Facebook sex, and Katherine Heigl has a glass of red wine sitting there and is masturbating during this.
Furiously
masturbating in this silk robe, red wine, just going to town.
And I'm convinced she has no lights in her house.
Oh, yeah.
There's never a fucking light turned on in that house. She just sits there in the dark like a fucking creep.
Yeah. Just as she's fucking talking on Facebook to Rosario Dawson's stalker, as Rosario Dawson is just banging away with their fiance.
She's just getting fucking she grabs homeboy's head and is like, yeah, no, you're doing this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's fuck, that's more graphic than I thought this was gonna go.
Again, this scene is, I'm pretty sure it's why I was carded for this movie. And again, there's not even technically any nudity in the scene.
No.
It's just fucking ridiculous. So, I guess that's my final thought about this movie.
If you really want to see Rosario Dawson get blasted in a bathroom while Katherine Heigl just goes to fucking town on herself.
Yeah.
And
is there a movie for you.
And at no point do you really want to see nudity.
Except for Rosario Dawson's butt double in one scene. That wasn't her.
It could have been
but I don't mean that as
she spent half of that movie trance, just full frontal.
True, Alexander and shit. Like the only reason why I say that is just because of how it was shot. Like
it was like really like kind of like sneaky camera angles. Like
it was.
Like, we can show your butt, but only for like a 15th of a second.
And it does
as we're like sweeping, panning by.
Yeah, it was like she's getting in the bathtub and it shows her disrobe. But again, it's from the back. You don't see her face at all. And when it does show the face, it goes for the medium shot, just like up here, and she turns around. That's what I mean. I'm like, that wasn't you.
We're cheating a lot of angles on that.
Yeah.
Like, we want to go for an R, but we not like a hard R. Just like a... like a semi.
Dude, you're right. Not me. Every time Katherine Heigl gave the crazy eyes, it was full. But any final thoughts about the movie?
You know, thinking about it too, if you want to go on this trend of like going backwards into movies that could potentially be like prequels to this.
Yeah.
Picture this. Katherine Heigl, when she was younger, was like the other girl from Cruel Intentions. It would explain the intense desire to horseback ride.
When that horse riding started in this movie, I was in my head, I was like, now it makes sense why someone on Twitter earlier mentioned Cruel Intentions when they were talking about this film. Although it doesn't have that horse riding masturbation scene from Cruel Intentions 2.
Yeah, they probably had to cut it.
Oh, it came close. A couple of times in this movie, it came fucking close.
When she was angry doing a steeplechase. Like, this is intimidating, super weird, and oddly sexual.
Yeah.
And she's trotting around just jumping over like foot high like bars.
Yeah.
So angry.
Again, much like Bo Derek in the movie Bolero. Or, I mean, going back, it could also tie into My Father the Hero. We never see her father in this. It could have been Gerard Depardieu.
That would explain the French lesson.
See? Yeah.
Fuck me, this movie is connected.
Yeah. A Katherine Heigl universe, and it all comes... This movie...
We are weaving a rich tapestry.
This movie suddenly makes it okay that so many other previous Katherine Heigl movies exist.
Plus, like, the dad moved out, and especially, like, after she burned his house down, like...
Yeah.
I would have left the country, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that happens in this. We find out that she's also the guy from Endless Love.
Or also still the girl from When the Bow Breaks.
Yeah. Only Morris Chestnut isn't standing outside fixing the gutters watching her change clothes. What? I'm just out here fixing this in this storm at 3 a.m.
Don't mind me.
Watch that movie, too. I got a few movies this week. I think tomorrow Dave and I are at Free Fire, and Phoenix Forgotten is playing in Springfield. Thursday, I'm at like an advanced screening of King Arthur. Whatever. Looking more forward to Phoenix Forgotten and Free Fire.
Yeah, that King Arthur one, I mean, if you're a big Charlie Hunnam fan and you've been jonesing for a fix since Sons of Anarchy went off the air, I guess this is where you're heading.
I hope it's good. I gotta sit through it.
One of Letty's sisters is very excited for this, but I think she's really excited because she's like madly in love with Charlie Hunnam, and the trailer is pretty much like starring his muscles. Yeah, like that trailer was 50% ab shots from what I recall, and I think from what she recalls as well. So she's looking forward to it. Right. So there are people out there like really wanting to see this.
If I don't like it, I'll just be watching the movie Excalibur in my head.
It'll be yet another failed King Arthur movie.
Exactly. All right. See you later.